How you doing, everyone? Hope you're well. In France at the moment, just going to do 20 minutes worth of 6 counts, some Navy SEALs and some double Navy SEALs, and then I've got a step running session after that, which I probably won't film. Not sure how the 6 counts are going to go today, haven't done them for a while, but let's get stuck in, see how it goes. Okay.
How you doing, everyone? Hope you are well, training hard. Back in France at the moment, just managed to squeeze a few days out there, recorded this a few days ago. Quite nice to do a few sessions outside. I usually don't do many sessions outside because I just get devoured by the midges and the mozzies. I don't know how some of you guys go outside shirtless and do these sessions, and just, if I did, I'd just come back looking like I had chicken pox or something, just, you know, for the next 2 weeks. But there's no doubt it's good to do a session outside. So what am I jiggling about doing today? Well, today was 20 minutes 6 count burpees. I was going to have 5 minutes rest, then do a 5-minute burst of Navy SEALs, 5 minutes rest, then a 5-minute burst of the double Navy SEALs. And then I had some step running that I was going to do, although I knew it would be a bit ploddy after that session, but I just like to do a bit more sort of leg heavy work after the burpees. I hadn't done the 6 counts for a while, and I noticed watching this back that I've just got to watch the standing up, because I'm looking at the floor and I think it's better if I look ahead a little bit, and that'll bring me a bit more upright so that I'm doing them with a little bit better form. If you're watching this for the first time and saying what on earth is he doing with that wide stance, I've said in a few videos you may not have seen that I just found this stance a lot more conducive to my body type. Back in a previous life I used to play professional squash, and it makes when you've trained so specifically for literally decades, it not only gives you specific fitness, but it adapts your anatomy specifically for the needs of that sport. So you become very good at a long lunge, a long reaching lunge with chasing that ball with a racket in your hand, and then you've got to press yourself back or lunge yourself back to the original position and then off to another corner. So it's a very lunge heavy sport, and your anatomy, especially my back, I find adapted in that way, and it's not conducive to a deep squat. So when I started doing these about a year ago or so, I noticed that I was leaning forwards too much, and it was putting a lot of the pressure on the smaller quadricep muscles, not the larger ones, when I was coming up. My legs are normally not too bad. I've traditionally done step running a lot, lots of lunges, court sprints and things like that. So legs aren't too bad strength wise. So it seemed a bit strange why my legs would be feeling it, but it was because I was using the smaller quads muscles. As soon as I widened the stance, it was so much better, although it does put a bit more pressure on my shoulders because there's a further distance to go from the wide stance to the plank position ready for the push-up. So I think this technique of moving is slightly less hard on the legs but a little bit heavier on the shoulders. I do find that if I've done a few of these, I feel a little bit of the DOMs in my shoulders as well, so that sort of backs up that idea, I suppose. I actually managed to get 324 of these in the time. I thought I'd done 325, but on counting back, I realised that I'd miscounted one. I didn't really expect to get close to that number, to be honest, but once I get to about 260, I tend to put in a little bit of a fast burst and think, okay, I'm getting to the home straight now. I'm going to sort of try and up the pace and see if I can maintain it. And I wasn't doing too bad at maintaining it. Suddenly thought, hang on, I'm getting quite close to 325 here. And then probably the last minute I actually rushed them a little bit. So this is one of the things when you're chasing numbers, you've got to be very mindful of your technique when you're trying to go a bit quicker. But hey, it's all good. I enjoy the challenge of the numbers. It's another great variation in training. So yeah, it's all good. I do always like to try and overload a situation in some way, hence the 5 minutes rest and trying to get 40 Navy SEALs in 5 minutes. Then trying to get the double Navy SEALs session in, the 5-minute burst of those. I try and aim for 25 in 5 minutes. Sometimes I don't do it. On this occasion I did do it. So I think it shows as for anyone, the more you do of these, the better you'll get at them. But I don't necessarily think you've got to do huge quantities to get better at them. I guess in one way I'm testament to that, because I haven't been doing huge quantities of these, but I have tried to keep the intensity high. I think at 58 now, I'm not as bothered about doing huge numbers of reps. I think I'd prefer to change up the session, work in a different way, so you can still have a long, tough session, but it's made up of different components and different styles of training. Like I say, that's why I wanted to mix up the 6 counts Navy SEALs, double Navy SEALs, but then get some leg work and a bit more intense cardio. Not that this isn't intense, but the step running really is a level above this even. So for me, that variety works. I've incorporated some of these in timeline 2 of the $1 Billion Syndrome workout programs. If you're not familiar with those, 28-day programs, sort of a fast track really, of no equipment required workouts of circuits, HIIT circuits, but a mixture of stuff. It's based on the premise of time efficiency, no equipment required. It's always handy if you can have a workout in your back pocket that you can perform anywhere. I've done these in hotel rooms. If we go on holiday, I've done it on a balcony. Some are more upper body orientated, some are more lower body orientated. Actually, Rob at Robotics has started doing one of them, a partial one, as part of his routine now. Rob has an amazing array of equipment, a lot of old school equipment that is still very, very effective. You just don't see it in gyms these days, like the old Bullworkers, variations on those, chest expanders, all these different sort of pieces of equipment that you don't see in gyms these days. So he's a bit of an expert on those, but he's just started to get a bit of cardio in as well at the start of the session using these $1 Billion Syndrome workout programs. I've also decided to set up a members area. I feel like, having been at this fitness game for so long now, that you pick up so many useful tips from experience, physical and psychological, that in some ways I almost feel it a responsibility to pass these things on to people. And many of the things I've learned the hard way. You know, you make a mistake and then you realise, oh right, okay, I should have done this instead of this. So if you can pass on that information and stop other people making the same mistakes, then that's got to be a good thing. There are also so many psychological things around training. You know, training is training your body, but it's also training your mind. And there's all sorts of psychological tips to motivate you to train, or to discipline you to train, or within a training session. There's so many things that you can accrue to help you get through a session or to do a session better with psychological tricks and tips. I do also have a sports science degree, and I've coached at Ivy League universities. I've coached hundreds of people, created workout programs. I coached in Boston, at New Hampshire in the US, and it is absolutely the case that the psychological side of training is huge. And also being goal orientated. I think if someone trains randomly and just sort of goes to the gym for health and fitness, which is a great starter, but I think you need a goal. Or sometimes one thing that's neglected is if you have a training partner. And traditionally that was always a good thing with playing squash, because in a way you deferred the motivation to the situation you were going to. In other words, you didn't want to let someone down because you've arranged to play squash with another person. Whereas if you go to the gym, you've got to do a session on your own, it's just entirely down to you. In the squash world, if you had a league match or you had some sort of match, you had to get up off the sofa to go down because you've made an arrangement with someone. And that was one of the beauties of squash. I know during COVID, when all the squash clubs were closed, a lot of people didn't hardly do any exercise, or the people that traditionally played squash. They just weren't used to motivating themselves. They were used to that luxury of having another person that they had to meet up with to have their exercise with. I guess that's why exercise classes or running clubs and things are quite good, because there's that social element to them. I know during COVID, I used to have these phone sessions with a friend of mine where we would do a circuit. He was in his area of the UK and I was in mine, and I would shout the timings down the phone, go, stop, do this, do that. So we would have this sort of mutual circuit that we would do via the phone. But I know he would often say, I wouldn't be doing this today if I hadn't made this arrangement with you. So yeah, having a training partner is a great little tip really. But anyway, yeah, I'm going to set up a members area and see how that goes. Let's see if I can help a few people with their training. So keep an eye out for that. Okay, I've babbled on enough, I think, so I'll leave you to the rest of this. If you're interested, I'll put a link to the last minute, which is a bit of a desperate last minute, but then it usually is. Keep training, see you in the next one.
Okay, a little bit unexpected, didn't quite expect to get 325, but as it was going on, I thought, okay, I could be on schedule for a decent time, but I think I maintained the second half a bit better than usual. So that's the second time I've done 325 now. So if I'm not careful, I'll have it as a new standard that I'm going to have to maintain. Okay, you can wish me luck on the step running now, or step plodding, I should say. Don't forget the $1 Billion Syndrome workout programs. Check out billiondollarsyndrome.com. All different levels, great to do anywhere, full body. There's some burpees in timeline too as well. Check it out. See you in the next one. Oof.